Tonight on MUTV News, a man is arrested in Cudahy Hall, and we have a sad message from the university's president.
Plus, it's a day after election, and President Barack Obama has America in his hands for another 4 years. That and much more. This is MUTV News Wednesday night.
Live from Marquette, this is your campus news.
Will we do that?
MUTV News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Mahalik.
And I'm Max Hess. In our top story tonight, breaking campus news today. University officials have confirmed to MUTV News that a man not affiliated with the university was arrested in Cudahy Hall. DPS responded to a call at about 11 a.m. this morning from a professor who said a man had entered his classroom. The man refused to leave when he was asked to. DPS found him immediately and handed him over to the police. He was taken to the station and cited for disorderly conduct. No one was injured. The university reminds students to always have DPS numbers in their phones and take advantage of them when needed, even when inside a classroom.
Sad news from Marquette's theater department tonight. Associate Theater Arts Professor Phyllis Ravel has died. She passed away last night at the Horizon Hospice in Mequon. The theater department announced that they will be dedicating their current production of Women of Lockerbie to Ms. Ravel. A fund in her name has been set up. People are encouraged to contact Dr. Stephen Hudson Merritt for more information.
After months of debates, fierceless political ads, and a battle of campaigns only few of us have experienced before, the presidential election has finally come to an end. President Barack Obama was re-elected by the American people over Republican candidate Mitt Romney. The president won with 303 over Romney's 206 electoral votes and with 50 to 48% in the popular vote. Obama won many of the key battleground states, including Ohio, Wisconsin, and Colorado. NBC News first predicted that Obama would win the race after he seemed to be taking a lead in Ohio, a classic swing state that many saw as the key factor in this year's election. President Obama said that he looks forward to working together with Romney in the future to continue fostering economic growth and a better future for our country.
Tonight, you voted for action, not politics as usual. You elected us to focus on your jobs, not ours. And in the coming weeks and months, I am looking forward to reaching out and working with leaders of both parties to meet the challenges we can only solve together.
The presidential election wasn't the only big news of the night, especially not in our home state. Tammy Baldwin won her Senate race over Tommy Thompson, 51 to 46%. Baldwin becomes not only the first woman, but also the first openly gay woman from Wisconsin to enter the Senate. As of 6 p.m. today, Baldwin received over 1.5 million votes in the state. Well, being an active voter is important, and some students on campus are taking initiative to do exactly that. Carolyn Portner reports.
The youth vote has become more important than ever. With such an emphasis on college students' vote, Marquette students and organizations are taking their role seriously.
All of these issues that candidates are putting on their platforms, like they affect us directly, and we need to be really informed on what's going on, like health insurance, different things like that are really going to start to be personal issues for us.
Because I want to have an impact on my country's decision, and if I want to be able to say that I went out there and I did something. I voted for what I believed in.
It's a hard-fought effort. It took many years for us to be able to have this freedom, so we should definitely exercise it.
Political groups and organizations are hitting campus to spread the word about the political candidates. College Democrats and college Republicans are also working to emphasize the importance of active voters.
Being involved and active in politics is the only way that you're going to know about it, and the only way you're going to have an informed opinion about what you actually think and who you actually support.
Important because you got students with political views, so I mean, why not have them be able to try and convince other students, or why not have them get involved in politics, get involved in something they care about.
Leaders of these political organizations say they are driven to be involved in politics because of their support for their party's principles and leaders.
Well, I think we look at what the president has done over the past 4 years and the policies he's passed and how he favors and really pushes agenda for the youth. And I think that's what ignites so much passion is the politics of the situation.
I really enjoy the excitement I get. I just think it's fun to try and educate people on, especially on Republican principles and things that I care about, things that I think are important, and like the right path our country needs to be on.
As Marquette students rock the poll on Tuesday, the college Democrats and college Republicans hope for the success of their candidates, but they also hope for the voices of our campus to be heard. Reporting from the Alumni Memorial Union, Carolyn Portner, MUTV News.
Thank you, Carolyn. Interested in furthering your Marquette education? The Graduate School is hosting an open house tomorrow. With more than 40 graduate programs, prospective students will take a walking tour of campus and meet faculty. The Assistant Dean of the Graduate School, Craig Pierce, will also present, as well as the Assistant Director for Financial Aid, Thomas Merrick. Current grad students will also be available to answer questions and provide advice. The open house will take place 4:45 to 7 p.m. on Thursday.
It is the 75th anniversary of the publication of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. On Thursday, November 8th, there will be a celebration for this event. It will be in the Balmier Suites on the Rayner Library Conference Center at 4:30 p.m. Authors Wayne G. Hammond and Christina Stoll will have a slideshow presentation. Call into the library archives by noon to register for this event on November 7th. There is no cost, and it is open to Marquette and Milwaukee communities. When we return, the election night broke a record in social media. We'll have the details.
Plus, a drug often frowned upon is declared legal in areas of the U.S. That and much more. MUTV News will be right back.
Live from Marquette, this is your campus news source, MUTV News.
Welcome back to MUTV News. The election results are in, and it has been projected that the House of Representatives will remain in control of the Republican Party and the Senate with the Democrats. How will the majority holders affect the future of Congress? Well, according to the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, Republicans will not budge on Obama's tax increase. On the other end of Capitol Hill, Democrats maintain the majority of 23 of 33 seats in the upper chamber were won by a Democratic candidate. It looks as if bipartisanship will be a must in order to move the country forward.
Records broken. President Obama didn't only win the election, he also won the world of social media. Obama tweeted words 4 more years, along with a picture of him hugging the First Lady after his re-election became clear last night. A tweet that broke the record as most retweeted of all time. Packers lineman TJ Lang says he needs to go back to the drawing board in the Twitter world. Lang tweeted about the president breaking his record, which was set when Lang tweeted about the bad replacement refs in the NFL. In the United States of America may soon be adding a 51st state. The people of Puerto Rico have spoken, and 61% of voters said that statehood was the best option for the island home of nearly 4 million people. However, many Puerto Ricans still stand divided on the issue, as the pro-statehood governor was voted out of the office. The results will now be sent to Capitol Hill for Congress vote on the possible inclusion of Puerto Rico in the Union.
Something many college students might be interested in. Yesterday, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado voted on referendums on legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Colorado has legalized marijuana for persons age 21 and older. Voters in Washington also cast their ballots in favor of the recreational use. The results is estimated to bring in as high as $500 million in tax revenue for the state of Washington. Oregon, however, said no to the early ballot. That measures would have allowed for the use, sale, and growth of marijuana to be legal throughout the state.
Changing attitudes about same-sex marriages were displayed in last night's election results. Maryland and Maine will allow same-sex couples to tie the knot. The approval of gay marriage rights in Maryland was passed by roughly 52%. A similar ballot measure is pending in both Minnesota and Washington in support of gay rights. On the home front of Wisconsin Senate elected Tammy Baldwin as the first openly gay member of Senate. Tammy Baldwin is also the first woman to elect a Wisconsin senator.
Well, he may have lost his bid for vice president, but Paul Ryan did win re-election to the House in Wisconsin's 1st congressional district. He was challenged by former Kenosha County Supervisor Democrat Rob Zerbin. This marks Ryan's 8th straight term in Congress.
When we come back, details on crash this morning that affected heavy traffic on I-94.
Plus, Nicole Fox will have your complete weather update. We'll be right back.
Live from Marquette, this is your campus news source, MUTV News.
Welcome Welcome back to MUTV News. All lanes of Interstate 94 are back open tonight after a rollover crash earlier today. The crash happened around 5:30 this morning near 27th Street. Witnesses say that a minivan struck the center wall and then skid across lanes of traffic before coming to a stop, flipping over and catching on fire. A 23-year-old woman was taken to a local hospital. She claimed that her 3-year-old son was still in the car, but he could not be found. The boy was later found safely with a relative. Lanes reopened at about 6:40 a.m.
Victims of Hurricane Sandy will be getting help right here from Wisconsin. Roundy's, a Wisconsin-based grocery store, is donating 20 pallets of water. That is more than 34,500 bottles. The bottles will be shipped to New Jersey, a state that was really hit hard by the storm. Roundy's says the water is worth over $7,000 and will arrive by early tomorrow morning.
The presidential election is something you should be informed about, but how well do you think the Marquette students knew their stuff? Aaron Mabin found out.
In a critical presidential election like this one, it's important for voters to know all the facts. So that's why I made the decision to play a little election trivia with some Marquette students. The President of the United States, is he right or left-handed?
Left?
That's correct. Are you voting in this election?
Yes, I am. My first time. So.
And, oh, great. And do you know how many percent of the United States voted in the last presidential election?
I'm guessing around 65. Is that right?
That's close. It's actually 56% voted in the last presidential election. Alex About, who's from the state of Michigan, she already sent in her vote absentee, which is really great to hear. Alex, do you know how many electoral votes the state of Michigan has?
No, I don't.
Michigan actually has 16 electoral votes. Do you know Barack Obama is left or right-handed?
I believe he's left-handed.
That's actually correct. He's actually only the 6th president in the United States history to be left-handed, and Bill Clinton was actually our last left-handed president. Do you know what state Mitt Romney comes from?
Romney? No, I don't. I have no idea.
Massachusetts. Reporting from the streets of Marquette, Aaron Mabin, MUTV News.
Thanks, Aaron. With only roughly 4 more weeks left to the semester, winter is getting closer and closer, and it's getting cold out there, Lisa.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Nicole Fox has your Marquette weather update.
Okay, let's see what's in store for weather this week. Milwaukee here, temperature of 42. The dew point is at 41 degrees. Humidity level is 90%. The barometer is 30 inches and winds south-southwest at 3 miles per hour. Okay, today had a high of 46 degrees and a low of 36. Average 44 degrees, low of 31. The record was 71 degrees in 1991 and 9 degrees in 2009. All right, the nation here, 32 degrees on the East Coast. New York, it's actually snowing there. 77 down south, Texas. 43 here in Milwaukee. Over towards the West Coast, California, 59 degrees, 53 up in Seattle. So yeah, nationwide. Eau Claire, 42 degrees. Wausau, 38 degrees. Green Bay, 40 degrees. Milwaukee, 42, and Madison, 41. Tonight, it's cloudy and fog overnight, 36 degrees, and winds northwest at 2 miles per hour. Tomorrow for 9 a.m. classes, mostly sunny, 41 degrees, and winds southwest at 6 miles per hour. The 5-day forecast here today was 44 degrees, low of 36, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, fortunately, mostly sunny, 48 degrees, 36 low. Friday, 51 degrees, partly cloudy, and 46 degrees for the low. Saturday, getting warmer there, 61 degrees and few showers during the day with a low of 51 degrees. When we return, we'll have sports with Travis Smith.
Live from Marquette, this is your campus news source, MUTV News.
Hi, I'm Travis Smith with your Marquette Sports Update. Well, it's that time of year again. Basketball season is just about to tip off as the men's basketball team here at Marquette prepares for its first game of the season this Friday night against Ohio State. In what is called the Carrier Classic, the Golden Eagles and number 4 ranked Buckeyes will play the game on the USS Yorktown, an aircraft carrier. in South Carolina's Charleston Harbor at 6 p.m. The annual nautical game has become a favorite for college basketball fans around the country after the tradition began only last year when North Carolina faced Michigan State in an exciting game which was attended by President Barack Obama. The Carrier Classic is held every year to raise money for the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society, but is in no way a simple exhibition game. With two competitive teams like Ohio State and Marquette facing off, the game is sure to be intense, as both sides will be looking for a big victory to start off their season. Marquette will be sporting their new blue camouflage uniforms for the special occasion, and MU students can cheer on the boys Friday night by watching the game on the NBC Sports Network, 6 p.m. Central Time. In other campus sports news, the men's soccer team is continuing their quest for a Big East championship. After defeating top-seeded Louisville in Louisville last Saturday evening, the Golden Eagles have advanced to their first ever semifinal. They will play number 2 ranked Georgetown at Red Bull Arena in New York City on Friday evening. Hopefully both the basketball team and soccer team can pull off big victories this weekend. That's it for sports. I'm Travis Smith.
Great story from there. Well, today we are joined by Shannon Roan, who's the Vice Chair of College Republicans at Marquette. Thanks for coming in, Shannon.
Yeah, no problem.
So last night must have been kind of disappointing for you.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing, definitely.
You know, what does it feel like when something like that happens? You know, when the party you've been working for this whole time, it all comes together in one night and then it's gone.
I mean, it's definitely hard to see the candidate you worked for lose and to see that Tommy Thompson also lost. But the way I try to look at it is that we have 4 more years to make our message even more clear for 2016. And, you know, this election really wasn't a mandate for either party, especially an incumbent president. I mean, it was very, very close, and the Republicans still won the House. So essentially things in Washington are very similar to the way they were before the election. So it'll definitely be interesting these next 4 years.
Well, that's interesting that you say to make your message more firm in the next 4 years. What do you think that the next 4 years will bring for America?
I think we'll see some more deadlock, and we'll see a little bit more arguing about what is the best course for us to take for our future, because there are 2 very different ways we can go. In my opinion, we need to be more fiscally responsible. We need to improve our government by making less government rather than making more government. So I think that's definitely going to be a debate to be had in Washington these next 4 years. So I hope that things get better for the sake of our country, because people deserve to be employed and to be able to find work. So I hope things get better. I'm not very confident that they will be under this president, though.
Well, and you mentioned, you're not very confident. One thing that I thought, really stood out, and I stayed up all night and watched the coverage last night. Something that stood out in my mind was the fact that Obama said he looks forward to working together with Romney. Do you think that's actually going to happen, or is that just something a president just kind of says?
Yeah, I don't really see that happening. I mean, the president has had 4 years to prove that he can be a person that reaches across the aisle and works with Republicans, and he really hasn't been that person. He has instead tried to push his agenda by making his own kind of mandates, pushing through legislation, like one of the biggest pieces of legislation we've seen in Obamacare. And, he hasn't proven that he can work with other people. He's cried that, the Republicans aren't willing to work with him, but he's the president, he's the leader of our country. He needs to make it work for the legislature.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, who do you think will be on ballot for 2016? And that's for both sides, not just the Republicans.
I think it'll be interesting. I'm really not sure about the Democratic ticket. It'd be interesting if we saw Hillary Clinton make another appearance again. It'd be really interesting if Joe Biden attempted to run. Okay. But in terms of the Republicans, there are a lot of younger Republican politicians that are up and coming. Governor Chris Christie is one of them. I'm sure we'll see more of Representative Paul Ryan, and I'm really excited for 2016. I think there are a lot of worthy candidates that will come out of that.
It will be definitely interesting to see what happens back then. Well, that's all the time we have tonight, but thanks so much for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, that's all we have, Marquette. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, and thanks for tuning in.